If you disappeared from your business for a fortnight, what would stop? Not what would become slightly less convenient. What would actually stop? A major customer waiting for your return, a pricing decision sitting in your inbox, your leadership team avoiding a difficult call because they want to know what you think. If that sounds familiar, this isn't just a delegation problem, it's a growth problem. Welcome to Why Businesses Stop Growing, the podcast for business owners, CEOs, and investors who want to build stronger, more profitable, and more valuable businesses. I'm Chris Wimshurst, Commercial Growth Advisor and founder of Hawthorne Advisory. Today, we're looking at the founder shadow, the point where your judgment, relationships, and availability become the business's operating system. Why does this happen? What should you do about it? And why does reducing your involvement actually make the business stronger? Let's pick the sweet corn out of that. Usually, it begins with trust. You know your standards. You know the history behind the numbers, the promises made to important customers, and the risks that never appear in a management report. You have seen decisions go wrong, and you remember what they cost. That sounds responsible, doesn't it? And sometimes it is. In the early years, the founder often is the sales director, operations director, finance director, and complaints department, occasionally before lunch. You learn the market because you have to. You solve problems because nobody else can. You carry the relationships and make the call when the information is incomplete. Those habits may have got the business through a difficult period. The trouble is, survival habits don't automatically become growth habits. A leader who rescued the business during a crisis can carry on rescuing it when the business needs systems. A leader who personally won the first important customers can remain the only person trusted to manage them. Here's how it shows up in a normal week. A sales leader has the customer information, knows the margin range, and has a proposal ready. But the deal is copied to you for approval. A key customer knows you, but not the account director. A manager spots a recurring delivery problem, yet waits for you to decide whether it is serious enough to fix. Nothing looks dramatic. The queue just gets longer. Then the costs begin to spread, decisions slow down. Managers become cautious because they don't want to get it wrong. Customers receive different answers depending on whether they reach you or the team. And accountability gets blurry. Everyone has a title, but people aren't sure where their authority starts or where it ends. Time kills deals, but it also kills momentum inside the business. So how do you test whether you're carrying too much? Don't begin with, I need to delegate more. That often means handing over tasks while keeping the authority, the relationship, and the right to change the decision. Instead, look at four dependencies: decisions, relationships, knowledge, and crises. Start with the last month. Which pricing decisions came back to you? Which recruitment choices waited for your sign-off? Which customer concessions, supply changes, or strategic opportunities paused until you're available? Then ask the important question: did those decisions genuinely require your involvement, or has the business simply never defined who else can decide? Now look at relationships. List the customers, suppliers, and partners who know you but don't really know the business. If your absence would make the relationship feel unsafe, there's a dependency. Introduce the right person before you need them to take over. Transfer the history, the expectations, and the commercial context. Don't just put them on a call and hope chemistry does the rest. Then ask what exists only in your memory. Which customer is sensitive about delivery dates? Which supplier can flex when demand changes? Which promise must never be made? Expertise is valuable. Undocumented expertise is fragile. And when a crisis arrives, notice who becomes the operating system. If every difficult situation automatically turns into your intervention, the business is calm only when you're present. That's dependency, not resilience. Now, the practical fix is not simply to hand work to people and wish them luck. Delegation without authority is just responsibility theatre. You give someone the task but keep the decision. Then, when the result disappoints you, you take it back and say, I knew I should have kept hold of it. Absolutely not. For each important area, name one accountable owner, one person, not a committee. Define what they can decide independently, the thresholds that apply, and the circumstances requiring escalation. A sales leader might own pricing within an agreed margin range. A service director might resolve customer issues up to a defined value. Below the threshold, the decision stays with them. Above it, it comes to you. That is how you protect standards without becoming the only route to them. Write down the principles as well. What do we protect at all costs? Where can we trade margin for strategic value? What evidence do we need before changing a process? Good principles let capable people use their judgment in the same direction as you. And don't confuse autonomy with disappearing. Replace constant intervention with deliberate review. Decide what is reviewed weekly, what is reviewed monthly, and what only comes up when a threshold is crossed. Ask what decisions were made, what outcomes followed, and what was learned. Don't ask for a running commentary on every conversation. If you review everything in real time, people will quite reasonably conclude that they are still waiting for permission. Keep the first move small. In the next 30 days, choose one bottleneck, one decision area, one important relationship, or one recurring problem. Not all three if your organization is already stretched. Choose the one that creates the most delay or risk. First, record the current reality. Where does the work wait? Who has the information? What does good look like? Second, transfer authority with context. Introduce the relationship, explain the history, set the boundary, and let the accountable person decide. Different is not automatically wrong. If you only accept decisions that sound exactly like your own, you've recruited an echo. Third, review three measures: decision turnaround time, quality or margin, and inappropriate escalations. If performance holds and decisions move faster, keep going. If something goes wrong, improve the information, the boundary, or the capability. Don't immediately reclaim the decision. That may feel quicker today, but next month, it will still be yours. So what, right? Ask yourself whether you're solving the problem or preserving the dependency. The goal isn't to make yourself irrelevant. It is to make your contribution more valuable because you're focused on the decisions only you should be making. This matters commercially. A business dependent on one leader is harder to scale, harder to manage, and harder to sell. Investors and acquirers are not only buying revenue, they're assessing whether performance is repeatable through a capable team. If performance walks out of the building when you do, some of the value walks out with you. Before you move on, write down the three things that would cause the greatest disruption if you were unavailable for 2 weeks. Identify the dependency behind each one. Choose one bottleneck, name the accountable owner, set the decision boundary, transfer the context, and agree the review rhythm. Just get it done. A framework that stays in your notebook is only stationary. The founder's shadow is not a character flaw. It is usually the result of commitment, history, and a business that once needed one person to carry almost everything. But growth requires a different operating model. Ask not, how do I get everyone to stop bothering me? Ask, where does my involvement create the most value, and where is it preventing the business from developing its own judgment? Thanks for listening to Why Businesses Stop Growing. If this episode made you think differently about your business, follow the show and share it with another owner, CEO, or senior leader who may be carrying too much of the business personally. Until next time, keep asking why.